right, go ahead.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Week 9 edition of SIN Sunday Sideline Report. I'm Mike Rifkin, joined today by Mark Oldopsky Halpern, Noah Tremblay, and Lawrence Patchman Lang. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Good morning. How are you, sir? I am doing well.
I'm tired.
You look it.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Noah, Patchy, what's up?
Not much.
We're
Good
here.
morning. Yes, we are here.
I think this is also our quickest start time that we've done, so we're working on that timing.
Well, when I'm here in person and not trying to go live for you guys from the Bronx Zoo, when I'm here, I will make sure this show starts practically on time.
Listen, I can't speak for Mark, and Noah can totally confirm this. I'm not tech savvy.
I'm getting a lesson Monday night.
Listen, I had a flip phone through college. Noah can confirm this.
Mm-hmm. And I would give him so much for it.
I still wish we could go back to it.
Well, I will say real quick before we get talking some football, on Thursday, there were some technical difficulties. I got the show live from my phone with 1%. So anything is possible.
Wow. That's impressive.
And then I lasted, and we did well.
All right.
So Patrick, you're just a show off. So let's go into the football. We'll talk about how nerdy Patchy's later and tech savvy stuff. We'll start with the NFL trade deadline, which occurred this past week. Not a lot of major deals happened. Probably the biggest non-deadline deal outside of the one we're going to talk about was Mark Ingram going from Houston to New Orleans, for a late round pick. But the big one, Von Miller is no longer a Denver Bronco. He is now a Los Angeles Ram of St. Louis. He was traded for a second and a third round pick, adding to a defense that already includes Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and Leonard Floyd. Gentlemen, what do we make of Von Miller, the Ram? So he changed from a horse to a ram.
I mean, if we're looking at this trade from both sides, I honestly think this is a win-win for both sides. I think Von Miller in Denver's time was coming to an end anyway, regardless of what would have happened had he been traded or not. It wasn't working anymore in Denver. I think the time had just run out on him in Denver, so I think he needed to change his scenery. So I think for Denver to get a second and third round pick out of him, because here's the thing, he is older. It's not like this is, in his prime Von Miller. That was 6 years ago. This is, aging veteran Von Miller. But for the Los Angeles Rams, this is another veteran presence on their defense that, like you said, Mike, includes Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. You now put Von Miller in the middle of that defense. He does not have to be the playmaker that he was in Denver. So maybe that'll open his game back up a little bit. So I honestly think this is a rare win-win for both teams. I think Denver's able to get something out of Von Miller, and the Rams get a veteran that could hopefully make their defense even better.
Looking at Von Miller as a whole, this isn't this isn't 5 years ago Von Miller. Both sides end up winning here, second and a third round. The only issue is Von Miller is dealing with, I believe, a knee injury, and he's questionable for this weekend's game. But we should expect him back next week. So, adding him to that defense, there is no harm. I mean, it just makes it better.
Agreed. It's like the Rams are collecting the Infinity Stones for the gauntlet in form of their defense. And adding Von Miller is practically a good piece because that Rams defense just jumps up 10 times better. And granted, he might not play this week due to a knee injury, but get him back next week. Look out for the Rams defense.
Here's the thing. It's not a matter of if he plays tonight, if he plays next week. This is about the push to the Super Bowl for the Los Angeles Rams, who, well, I mean, they should probably switch places with the Raiders currently because their chips are all in. This is the definition of Super Bowl or bust. They did it with the Stafford deal. They do it now. So much so that the Rams own one draft pick in the 2022 draft. It is a 5th round pick. And it's probably going to be the most exciting pick of the draft, the 5th round pick that the Rams own, because who even knows if the Rams are going to make that pick?
Probably traded out.
Yeah, that
Probably at this point.
Here's the other thing. If you're an offensive team, who do you double team? Von Miller? Aaron Donald? And if you do that, on the other side, Leonard Floyd's playing well too.
I was about to say, you can't
You
forget.
can't double all of these guys.
I think Von Miller's bringing a lot of experience to this team, which will be, it's not like they don't have experience. I mean, he's just bringing more of it. And his performance could go up because of the fact that he's no longer going to draw those double teams.
So I'll throw it out there to you guys, and then we can move on to other major storylines that we have to talk about. Does adding Von Miller to this already very good team, is this the move that makes the Rams the best team in the NFC?
Yes.
Or no?
Yeah, 100% think it does. Because now you look at the Rams and they have a superstar playmaker at every position. You got Matthew Stafford, who's proving, I think, this year I think a lot of us more experienced fans like Mike and Mark, you and I, and even Patchy too, like we've known Stafford's a really good quarterback. We've known for years that he's really good. He just needs the right team. And sure enough, look what happens when he gets traded to the Rams. He's exploding. He looks like an MVP candidate. They've got Van Jefferson. They've got Cooper Kupp, who's having arguably one of the best years a receiver ever had. You've got Tyler Higbee. You've got, running backs. You got Darrell Henderson, who's been playing really great. And then on the defensive side, now you got Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller in the linebacking core, and you got Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. It's like every single unit has a playmaker that can make big plays for them. So when you have that, you stack them up to any other team in the NFC. Yeah, they are the favorites in my opinion. Like, they have a better secondary than Tampa. To me, they have a better front seven than the Cowboys right now. And just, and every other team, they have something better than what that team has.
To build a little on what Noah said, 100%. I think Noah said it all. I can't really add much to it. When you put this team out on paper and you throw it up against every team in the NFC, they are competitively better. If you wanted to build a Madden Ultimate Team, there it is.
It's true. They are playing franchise mode on Madden in real life. All right. Well, if Von Miller leads the Rams to the Super Bowl, we'll wait and see. But Rams are a playoff team. We're gonna talk some set. We're gonna go into the sad news, and then we're gonna go into other news. I want to get this out of the way. We're gonna talk Henry Ruggs. If you didn't know, Henry Ruggs was in a car accident earlier this week. He was 2 times over the legal limit, drunk driving. It killed a 23-year-old woman and her dog. So this is an article from Yahoo by Jack Baer. Henry Ruggs III, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders, is facing even more legal charges after a deadly car crash that left a 23-year-old woman and her dog dead. Clark County prosecutors now intend to charge Ruggs with additional counts of DUI and reckless driving, both resulting in substantial bodily harm, as well as possession of a firearm while under the influence, a misdemeanor, according to Rio LaCanale of the Las Vegas Review Journal. If I butchered your name, I apologize. Ruggs had already been facing 2 felony charges of DUI and reckless driving, both resulting in death. The DUI resulting in death charge carries a sentence of 2 to 20 years, while the reckless driving charge is 1 to 6 years. With the new charges, Ruggs now reportedly faces up to 40 years in prison.
I'm going to make my stance very quick on this because I
Okay.
sent a text to you and Patchy venting on what I saw this morning, and I'm going to make it very quick. This man is being treated as a star right now because he was allowed to post bail, and now he gets to be under home arrest because he has money and because he's a star out there. Cut the junk, guys. Please. If this was any one of us who pulled this, we'd be under lock and key. We wouldn't be allowed out, and we'd be facing life. Come on. Sorry, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Before you get going, I just want to make it known he was driving 156 miles per hour.
Yeah,
That too.
And look, this is Mark said that this is like what's going on, and yeah, it's been a problem ever since sports and celebrities have been around. People will get preferential treatment depending on how much money they have, and that's how it goes. But as far as this goes, I mean, why you ruined your life, dude? You were set in the NFL. You were a top 15 draft pick by the Raiders. You were playing well. You were on the rise. Like, I think he was really starting to come into his own in Vegas, and now he pulls this, and now he's done. He's never in the NFL again because he's going to probably be in jail for 40 years. So he's probably going to be in jail until he's like 60 years old. And just from another perspective, like just the poor Raiders organization, they cannot get out of this. They cannot get out of this season. You've got the John Gruden thing, and now this. It's just, I mean, the Raiders organization, they probably cannot wait for this season to end. Like even though they're a 5-win team, they probably are just like, please end this season. Like, we're so done with this. We've got the John Gruden thing. Now we've got this Henry Ruggs thing to deal with. And, obviously they dealt with it pretty quickly because they were just like, yep, we're done with him and he's released. And so, but yeah, I feel terrible for the woman who and her dog who died. I feel terrible for the Raiders having to just have this pile on to what's already happened this year. So it's just hard to talk about because it's a kid. It's not only a kid ruined this woman's life, ended her life. He ruined his own, and he would have had a young, promising career in the NFL, and he ruined it.
Patch, anything you want to add?
It's a difficult time for everybody in the Raiders organization and outside of it, because unfortunately Ruggs made a boneheaded decision that basically cost him his own life, and he cost someone else's life and their pet to pass. And bonehead decisions sometimes cost you things, and in the end he caused his own demise, making a boneheaded decision to drive 150 plus miles per hour on the highway, causing a horrible accident that could have probably ended his life too. And somehow he escaped along with his girlfriend. But at what cost? You cause another life to perish. And now basically it's like you're in this deep water that you will never get out of, and you're going to sink like the Titanic and never be found until 100 years later when your name comes up in a trivia question, if that.
This is something I'll never understand. How hard is it to call an Uber? How hard is it to call a taxi? How hard is it to call a friend, say, hey, I'm not able to drive. Come get me. Get me home.
To-
Call
How
one of
hard
your
is that?
Call one of your teammates. I'm sure they'd be happy to do it for you.
to-
Yeah.
Call Mike Mayock, call Mark Davis, and have them send either an Uber or a cab to you.
to quote my mother, if you're ever in a situation where you don't feel comfortable getting behind the wheel or you're with someone that should not be behind the wheel, call me. I'd rather be mad at you for 5 minutes for waking me up at 2 a.m. to bring you home safely.
And I can also vouch for that because she has said those words to me.
It's the fact of you had everything in front of you. First of all, who the hell needs to drive 156 miles per hour? That's another part of this. Why are you showing off? I mean, there's no reason to be going that fast. I don't care if there's other cars on the road or not.
Fortunately, sometimes an abundance of money makes you
Nah.
feel untouchable. And go ahead, finish.
Yeah. The other part is something Mark hit on. It's if it was one of us who did this, we'd be behind bars. We wouldn't be able to post bail. As a societal issue, we have to start penalizing more the people who have the money and are able to do this more so than those who don't. Because it'll send a message. This will not be tolerated in whatever society you want to live in. It just doesn't work. So I do want to commend the Raiders because they were out in front of this very quickly. And once they gathered all the information, they did cut rugs. This is 2 times in the span of probably about a month, maybe a little bit more, where they were in the headlines for the wrong reason. So when you do this kind of stuff, when you draft or sign people, you got to do not saying that Ruggs had ever done anything like this before, but it's a bad look for the Raiders. And, we'll see what happens. They play the Giants today, so we'll see what happens with where they're at. Okay. On to another receiver in the headlines. Again, for all the wrong reasons. And he's one of Noah's heroes in life. He has a shrine to him somewhere on his wall.
Yeah. A shrine to how he's terrible.
Listen, it's almost the holiday season, and Odell Beckham Jr. was like, well, the Browns can't help me anymore. It's not what can the Browns do for me. It's what can I do for the Browns. But the Browns straight up released Odell Beckham Jr. on Friday.
After failing to trade him.
After failing to trade, I think that was more contractual issues than anything else from what I've read and
probably.
heard. So he was technically, let me rephrase this back. Technically, he was put on waivers, but he's released. He's not free to sign with another team till I think about 4:00 tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a second layer in a few minutes that I'm going to hit. But guys, the Odell era in Cleveland is no more.
Thank God it is.
Sorry, no.
And thank God it is because I couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand him in Cleveland because this move happened and you thought, oh, he'll work great with Baker Mayfield. No, it's been the complete opposite. He's a whiny baby who can't stand when he doesn't get the ball. And I don't give a crap what his dad says that he has been open many times and Baker's failed to hit him. How petty are you?
Oh, wait, that's the best part. His dad put out like an 11-minute video on Instagram.
I say, these are all the times Odell's been wide open and Baker's failed to hit him. Like, go to hell, dude. No one cares. No one cares that you're whining for your son. Your son's not that good. Your son's been overrated ever since he stepped in this league. I'm sorry. People christened him a top 5 wide receiver after that 1 year he had in the Giants. And I was like, no. I've seen him drop way too many balls, way too many easy balls. Is he good? Yes. I will admit that he has talent. But he's a whiny baby who wastes his talent because he can't. Oh, I need the ball more. I need the ball more. Go to hell. You
Man,
should
just
be
wait
carrying.
till Jerry signs him, man.
Don't
If that
even joke.
don't no, if they do that, I will not be happy.
Oh, please.
But it's just it shows in the stats because Mike, we talked about this on the show on Wishbone Shotgun this past Tuesday.
Shout out
Baker-
Wishbone Shotgun.
Here are Baker's stats with Odell Beckham: 60% completion percentage, 42 touchdowns, 29 interceptions in 28 games. In the 25 games without Odell Beckham Jr., 65% completion percentage, 39 touchdowns, and only 17 picks. The stats don't lie. Baker does better when he doesn't have to force the ball to Odell. And
no, you could bring up the stats and you're right. But just watch last year Baker.
yeah,
Baker last year that's the best Baker. And what happened?
Tore his
Odell
ACL.
torn his ACL, and we don't want anyone to get hurt. But that was the best Baker had looked. And then as soon as Odell comes back, it's okay. This is weird. This is becoming a problem.
And when was Odell out? Remind me, when was Odell out this year?
Oh, he was
missed
out the first couple of weeks.
I was about the first few games.
Okay, out the first couple of weeks. These are Baker's stats in the first 2 games. 75% completion percentage, a 90% completion percentage, one touchdown and 2 picks. But that was against the Chiefs and Texans. And as soon as Odell comes back, his completion percentage drops to below 60. It's just he's such a negative influence on not only Baker's play, but that locker room as a whole. And I am so happy he's done.
Now, to touch on with Noah, Noah and I, very big Dallas fans. We watched the same type of player come through Dallas. When Terrell Owens was signed to Dallas, I was nervous because, yes, is Terrell Owens one of the best receivers ever play the game? Yes, but he's a cancer. He had to have the ball. It was, there was no second standout, really. Des Bryant changed a little bit, but Des Bryant was also, I love Des. My daughter and I put up the X every Sunday when he scored, but it was the same thing.
Not nearly as bad as T.O.
Not as bad. No, not as bad, but he wanted the ball more.
I'm just really upset Odell never did that's my quarterback.
That's the problem with Odell Beckham. If he would just agree to be like a player like Devontae Adams or, Cooper Kupp and just say, I'm part of this team. Yeah, I might be your number 1 wide receiver, but get it to me if you can.
You brought up 2 great options in Cooper Kupp right now and Devontae Adams. Listen, DeAndre Hopkins, silent assassin. He doesn't say anything. My problem with Odell, and this is kind of my problem, kind of with Cleveland, is I think Odell went there for the Freddie Kitchens experience where it was going to be, we're going to sling it kind of all over the place. Once Kevin Stefanski took over, this became a run-oriented team. And they only wanted Baker to throw the ball probably 35, maybe 40 times. It wasn't going to be he's going to throw the ball 50 times a game. It's not how Cleveland is. They've upgraded the offensive line with Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills, J.C. Tretter. And the thing is, as good as they could be pass blocking, this is the best run blocking offensive line in the league. And when you have Chubb and Hunt, which is the best running back duo in the league, Baker doesn't have to throw the ball. Now, yeah, Baker missed Odell at times. But I watched last week's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baker leads them down the field to maybe take the lead. And I saw Odell drop a ball. Yeah, it was a high throw. But guess what? If you're a top receiver in football,
You should have
you
that.
catch it. To quote Lee Corso on the great NCAA video games, you get your hands on it, you catch it. It's always been the rule.
And the thing that always gets me about Odell is that you can demand the ball all you want, but the fact that you're throwing hissy fits on the sidelines, like I'll never forget him and the Giants with the kicking net.
Oh, the kicking that won that fight. There has never been a rematch.
He did, and you know what the thing is about him that I hate the most is that he always has to be the center of attention. And because I remember about a couple weeks later, he like made sure the camera was on him when he went over and like hugged the net, and it's like,
Yeah, after he scored a touchdown.
good for you, dude. I don't care. You're just trying to hog all the attention. I can't stand guys like this.
I know
Because
this is a sore
their own
spot
team.
for Noah and me. Odell Beckham is only going to be known for one thing, in my opinion. Well, two
Yeah, the
things.
catch.
Two things. Sorry, two things. One, the catch that he made in Giants Stadium,
Which I was there for.
And over Brandon Carr, and he made that one hand catch. Well, probably one of the best catches I ever saw in a football game ever. I'm not going to take that away from him. And the other thing he's going to be known for is pulling down his pants and pissing on a crowd. I'm sorry. This is not a player. Attitude speaks words more than plays.
You brought up the catch, so I'm going to hit this really quickly, and then Pat, you can go, and then we're going to hit one other part of this.
Sorry, man.
Do you think that catch, if that catch was not on Sunday Night Football for the world to see, he wouldn't be this guy?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
He is who he is. He is who he is because of that catch. That's all he's going to be known for.
And Noah, you were looking for a 4-letter word before. He's a diva.
Yeah.
Patchy, your thoughts on Odell being released?
Oh, good on the Browns. Good on the Browns for getting rid of the diva of the NFL. And I agree, Sunday football, if Odell does not make that catch, I remember where I was when he made the catch. It's like saying, hey, where were you when Odell made the catch? I was watching Sunday Night Football with my friend and his mom, and we were all in awe that he made the catch. But I agree. It's kind of like, I don't mean to compare to, but it's kind of like Eli's Super Bowl wins. If those two catches don't happen, what is Eli?
Yeah, but you know what he is with those 2 Super Bowl rings?
Don't
Hall
say
of
it.
Famer.
No.
Yeah, he is.
We'll have this debate another time. Absolutely not. But
That's a different discussion, different day. But if anything, I guess to throw it out into the Raiders might be interested in Odell since a situation just occurred with them.
Okay, so I want to pause right there because we're gonna get into that. It's being reported that Odell's camp is telling teams he only wants to play for playoff contenders. Otherwise, there may be problems. Dude, first of all, you said the quiet part out loud. We know you only want to play for playoff teams. We get it. If only you were just on a team that had a chance at making. Oh, wait, you were on the Browns. A team that could make the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying you're going to wind up in a place like Detroit or Jacksonville or Houston. But if a team who's disappointing this year, freshen up your life, man. You can freshen up. Listen, I've had this conversation with plenty of people. I would have no problem with the Dolphins putting a waiver claim on you. You could live on South Beach, and who knows? You may play with Deshaun Watson next year. I don't know. But to come out and say you're only going to play for a playoff team and you're going to annoy probably more than half the league, because let's be honest, you're going to go to what? One of 12, 13 teams, and there are teams who don't need you.
Exactly.
That's the big K.
I made the point before of saying, watch Jerry sign him. The Cowboys don't need you.
They don't, because they're going to get Michael Gallup back. So you're going to have Lamb, Cooper, Gallup.
Yeah,
you're fine.
Yep.
the Rams don't need him. They have Cup, Woods, Van Jefferson, Higbee. The Rams don't need him.
The Niners don't need him.
The Niners could use him, but yeah.
They could use it, but I don't think they need it.
I don't think they'll go there, but the Niners could use him because Ayuk's had a bad year.
I could see Indy make a run at him.
The Bucks don't need you.
No.
The Bucks would be dumb enough to sign him. Just to have him.
You know what, Patchy? Now that we've said this, it's going to happen.
Please.
Green Bay doesn't need him.
And then there are teams
No.
who are just not going to put up with you. But I think your best spot would be the Chiefs. But I don't know if Andy Reid's going to put up with this nonsense.
No, he won't.
I don't. You know, I mean, we could talk. You know, the Packers could totally use another guy. I don't know if, although they may give you a shot because someone else won't get a shot, but it's a totally different kind of shot.
It's a different. Aha.
Oh,
We'll talk about that shot later.
the first dart thrown.
It's
The
not
first
really
shot was thrown.
It's not really a shot thrown because he ruined my fantasy team this week.
yeah. But with Odell, it's like, yeah, you limit yourself to so few teams, and you might even eliminate those teams because they're not going to put up with your attitude.
Argument's sake, we're going to talk Thursday Night Football in a few minutes. The Colts could totally use them.
And that's what I was saying.
But I don't see Frank
Indianapolis.
Reich. I don't see Frank Reich putting up with that.
No, that's my point. Is they're not.
And that's
gonna
the
put
only
up
team,
with
though.
The only other spot I brought up the Packers. I brought up the Chiefs. I don't think Bill Belichick would put up with his nonsense. So I'm not even going to say New England.
You know what? I think if he went to England, Bill Belichick would put him in his spot.
I don't know about
I don't
that.
think so.
I don't know. It worked once with Randy Moss, and then it didn't work with Chad Ochocinco for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know which side you're going to get that on.
See, the problem is that he's not. Randy Moss was willing to be humbled and figure out his place. I don't think Odell's mature enough to do that.
And Randy wanted a ring.
Yeah,
They didn't win, but
I don't think Odell cares about. I really don't think Odell cares about winning. He says he does. I don't think he does.
the only other spot, and now I don't even know if this is a spot because of what happened last week, but the Saints.
Oh,
Michael Thomas isn't going to be back.
I don't see Sean
I
Payton.
think Sean
wanting
Payton
that.
will deal with it.
I think Sean Payton could deal with it. I think the problem is going to be what's going to happen the minute Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill struggle.
Where's the ball? Where's the ball? What do you want
You're
from
going
me?
to have to figure other things out. So,
Right.
I mean, Pittsburgh dealt with another version of him and Antonio Brown, so I don't think they're going to do it.
But at least Brown has calmed himself down a little bit.
Yeah, he's out. For
Yeah,
the
because he
next
got what
3
he wanted.
weeks.
He gets to play with Tom Brady. So,
Right.
And he won a Super Bowl.
Right. So,
I don't get me started, but quick tangent. Game he shouldn't even been allowed to play in, but that's a whole nother conversation. NFL released the Washington football team notes. We want to know. Okay. We're going to jump to Thursday Night Football because we actually, we could say it was a decent game, but we had scoregami, which is probably the most important thing, except for the fact that the Colts got a win they needed. The Colts defeated the Jets by a score of 45-30. Carson Wentz, 22 of 30, 272, 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. For the Jets, Mike White got hurt, so the legend of Mike White didn't last as long as most people would have thought. The Josh Johnson, 27 of 41, 317, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick.
who would think the Jets would get that type of performance out of two different players? One player who's been in since the sun rose about 15 years ago, and then another player who was just released from Dallas after being picked in 2018 gets going, hey, kid, you're signed, you're starting. Here you go. Here's your little 5-play, blah, blah. Who would think these type of numbers would have came out of these two professionals?
There's Joe Flacco when you need him.
Was not available to play.
I mean, here's the thing, Mark. You brought up the numbers for them as throwing the ball. They only ran for 88 yards in the whole game. Now, obviously, the sport predicated they had to throw the ball, but knowing who the Jets want to be, which is kind of like the old Niners of the past couple of years, which was built on good running game, play action. If you can't run the ball, you're not going to do anything.
For Pete's sake, Taylor and Hines combined for 246 yards. That is more than double what the Jets had as a team.
Yeah, that's.
And Carson Wentz had a 13 rushing yards. I mean, for the Jets, Elijah Moore, 784, 2 touchdowns. He had his breakout performance of the year that fans have been waiting on. But listen, we kind of know who the Jets are. They weren't going to be a playoff team this year. This is building towards the future. I will ask a question on the Jets in a couple of minutes, but this is about the Colts, who now sit at 4-5, right in the thick of things in the AFC, rebounding nicely after losing a game they should have won against the Titans. But in particular, one guy rebounded. And it's Noah and Mark's favorite quarterback in the league, Carson Wentz.
I have no problem with Wentz.
I didn't really hate him. I didn't really like him either.
You guys and did Doug Peterson pay you to say this?
The big thing for me with Wentz when it happened was I think so many people were high on after his almost MVP season where no doubt if he had stayed healthy in 2017, he would have been the MVP. He would have 100% been the MVP. But then I think he didn't really capitalize on that. And everyone kept saying, oh, he'll be a number one. He's a future quarterback. He's a future. It's like, he needs a better team. But I want to throw a question to you guys real quick. Jonathan Taylor, he's entering the MVP conversation, right? I mean, we're talking he's got 140 rushing attempts through 9 weeks, 821 yards already, and 8 touchdowns. This guy's entering the conversation, right?
As anybody else who's having a season like him should. Absolutely.
I mean, with a certain
his name has to be included as long as the Colts keep going the way they are. Absolutely, he's up there.
I know there was a certain guy who was running away with the MVP, in my opinion, as far as a running back is concerned. But unfortunately, he got hurt. That'd be Derrick Henry.
Well, here's the problem. And running backs can win the MVP. See Adrian Peterson the year he won it. But I think we need to start, when we talk awards and award season, I think we have to start degrading it by position.
And I 100% agree with you
because and same thing with Defensive Player of the Year. It has to go by position. I just think there's too much bias towards the quarterbacks there. That
the MVP every year, Mike, it's no longer the MVP of the league. It's who's the best quarterback.
Yeah. It's the best quarterback. So here's what I'll say. First of all, Jonathan Taylor's done a great job. He's come such a long way from Home Improvement and The Lion King that he is now one of the elite running backs in the NFL. Should he be in the MVP race? Probably. Will he be? That's going to depend on what the Colts do the rest of the season. They're at 4-5. Can they make a run? I think they can. I mean, they play the Jaguars next week. Then they play the Bills. Then they get the Bucs, which would be a good game, followed up by a game with the Texans before I think they hit their bye week. So, if he can keep going the way he's going, yeah, he'll be in the conversation. I just don't know how they're going to look, but I'm a believer in Frank Reich in this team.
Oh, 100%.
All right, so we're going to go to the Jets side for a second because I want to talk about nothing major because I'm not going to sit here and be like New York Sports Talk Radio and say, oh, Mike White's a legend. Josh Johnson's a legend. They should trade Zach Wilson. That's not going to happen. I want to talk Robert Saleh for a minute because we're going to talk about the Jet defense, the thing that should be the bread and butter of this team. So I'm just going to go through points allowed for a second. And this is over the last number of weeks. So in late September, they gave up 26 to the Broncos. We know what the Broncos are now. 24 to the Titans, which is actually a pretty good week. 27 to the Falcons, then the bye week. So the last three, 54 to the Patriots, 31 to the Bengals. We know how dynamic that offense is. And then 45 to the Indianapolis Colts. Robert Saleh's supposed to be a defensive guy. Is this, hey, I just don't have the weaponry? Or is this something you should be concerned about?
I don't think this is a level of concern. This is his first season. He's getting to know what he has, and he is going to have plenty of room to make updates over the year. It's, we touched a little bit of this on Thursday night, but I happen to think that Robert Saleh has done a good job so far.
Oh, I do too.
think-
I do too.
And he's got to be given a little bit more time to build so that defense can be where it should be.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I don't think this is a huge concern right now. I think it's a little concerning just because, yeah, he's a defensive guy. This should be a little better than what it is. But I think once he has a couple of years to either get some big free agent names or hopefully get some good draft picks in there, because I think he's a guy that I think is reinvigorating the culture in New York. He's showing that, hey, I will work with you. I will build this team up. So hopefully he can get the team going, basically. So I think I don't think it's a huge concern. So yeah, I think he's doing a good job. I would just let this ride out and see what he does.
So opponents are averaging 31.44 points per game. Let's see if I can get total offense. They're giving up about 500 yards of total offense, 424 per game. So we'll see what happens. But as for the Jets, I gave you the Colts upcoming schedule. I might as well do the same for the Jets. Next week, they play the Bills. Then they'll play the Dolphins. And then a massive game against the Houston Texans, which is going to be must watch.
Oh, my God.
Don't disrespect David Culley's team, man. They have
Give them the Sunday night football game already. Flex it.
Listen, no, don't disrespect David Culley's team. There's a good chance they win today.
With Tyler, you're talking about with Houston? I'm sorry?
Yeah, Houston.
Tyrod
chance they
Taylor's
win
coming
today.
back, and he's got something to prove, and he's going to light up that Miami defense.
Like Christmas tree.
Sorry.
All right. We're going to move on now. We're going to talk about the games of today. We're going to start with what should have been the game of the week. It had a shot to be game of the week. We were going to give it its love. But then they were like, "Oh, you got to pack it in." I was like, "Oh,
Man, he's rapid fire right now.
I am right.
He is throwing shots everywhere.
Yes,
I
he
am
is.
Chief Rapid Fire to you."
Oh my God.
All right, so we're talking Packers Chiefs. Aaron Rodgers not going to play. Test positive for COVID. I'm not going to get into the details of what's going on there. If you want to know, read articles or watch his interview on the Pat McAfee show on Friday. We're not going to talk about whether you should be vaccinating, not vaccinating. We're not going to do that. That's too politicized. And
And we can do that here.
it's going to be too much of a debate. And I think all four of us actually are vaccinated. Am I wrong?
Wrong.
Okay. So let's go from the Packers' point of view. We could talk just about Rodgers missing the game first and foremost. This is what listen, you could say whatever you want. Here's how I'm going to phrase it, and you can tell me this is what the Packers front office wanted. Because they wanted Jordan Love to be the guy. Well, Jordan, here's your shot, dude. Against a bad Chief defense. What do you got?
Show me
Well,
what you got.
And it's really funny because this is what the Packers are going to be moving forward because Rodgers is gone next year. They restructured the contract. Basically, you have one more year and then he's out and he's not coming back. I don't care. I've heard some Packers fans say like, oh, he's actually going to come back that next year. It's like, no, he's out. He's gone. And so, yeah, we get a little preview of what the Packers are going to be like post Aaron Rodgers. Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad?
Now, bright-sided a little bit for Jordan Love. He will have Devontae Adams today, and he could have Marquez Valdez-Scantling as well.
So it helps
Patches are
Patch, you're-
resident, Green
Patch,
Bay
you're the
fan.
Packer fan, so let's roll.
Let's roll. All right. Well, interesting situation. Hey, go Pack, go. So it's interesting because when this came out, I'm like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is out this week. You know what? We're going against the Chiefs. You know what? If they somehow lose this game, we'll get Rodgers back next week and we'll be fine being 7-2. A loss doesn't hurt us here because we should easily win the North this year. No questions asked. And now it's like, well, hang on. Aaron Rodgers might not come back because now there's a whole debacle going on with him. I'm like, all right. This is going to be very interesting. So throw Aaron Rodgers to the side for a minute. Let's talk about Jordan Love. Love versus Mahomes. Future here. Hey, going to be fun to see this once. You get to see this we're still technically early in the season. We're about halfway through. I'm believing Love. Granted, he has to go to Kansas City and play this game. But like Rifkin said, this subpar Chiefs defense, if Love can get through the Chiefs defense, the Packers can easily win this game. Devontae can help Love. Cobb can help Love. And if Scantling's available, yes.
I think Lazard is available as well. So,
and if Lazard is there too, you know what? This Packers team can just get through the Chiefs and then move on to next week. And hopefully AR is back if the debacle pans out, because Aaron Rodgers is now under a lot of heat with his status and all that, and things he's said and things he says he believes in. Listen to other things, but we don't get into that. I'm confident today that Jordan Love will play well, and hopefully the Packers team is around him and gets behind him and gives him that confidence boost to get the job done in his first career start.
I'm watching this for Jordan Love for one reason, and that's for people who know what I do as a business. I'm a sport card dealer. I stocked up on Jordan Love because I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be gone. So I bought a lot of Jordan Love. So I need a lot of love from Jordan Love today so I can sell it all.
I will say, if
what's Love got to do with it?
Everything. He's the one running him around.
What is Love?
What is Love?
My wife of 14 years.
My endless love. But
Where is the love?
Where is the love? But if Love has a bad game, you know what? It's his first game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's a lot of jitters. Everyone has their first game, and either it's really good, subpar, or really bad. Yeah, you can't judge someone after one game.
You can judge Love after one day. Come on, man.
Yeah, just ask Moser.
I was coming out with that too.
Oh man. But as far as this game goes, Jordan Love just has to keep him in the game. I don't expect him to win, because now I don't expect him to be as dynamic as Rodgers is with even against that terrible Chiefs defense. I think the Chiefs kind of got a free pass with this. Now I think the Chiefs have a much easier path to victory than before. But with Love, it's if he plays well, they're great. If he honestly, this feels like a lose-lose for him, because if he plays badly, the media is gonna pour on him. The Green Bay media is gonna pour on him. And even if he plays great, people are gonna be like, well, there's nowhere in Like, I still want Rodgers back over him. It's like he just said he's not going to win in this situation.
You said the Green Bay media. Think of what the national media is going to do.
Oh yeah.
Either way.
When you look at this game, I agree with what Mike said in the beginning. This should have been the game of the week. but this is not the same Chiefs team as we have seen
No.
over the last few years.
It was the Sunday night game this week, and then it got switched.
It got switched. And what is it? I mean, that alone also kind of hurts a team, knowing that you were here and now you're here, and this is a statement game for Kansas City, if anything, if they can come out and win against Green Bay. I think, unfortunately, Green Bay is going to win this game, and it's not going to be behind Jordan Love. I think Aaron Jones is just going to run up and down the field all day.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's big Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon day. I'm still mad at Matt LaFleur for not giving A.J. Dillon the ball down near the goal line last week. That's a whole nother conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest injury the Packers have is not even Aaron Rodgers. I think it's not having Jair Alexander today. Because now, listen, we know we've talked about Mahomes a lot on the podcast, and he doesn't look the same. He's not this, he's not that. I mean, unless the Packers are going to take away Tyreek Hill, which the Bills had success doing, the Ravens had success doing, here's the problem. Packers defense aren't the Ravens or the Bills.
No.
So, excuse me.
This could
Tyreek
be
Hill could have a
potentially the
field
biggest
day.
scoring game in football history.
I'll say this too: if the Chiefs really want to open this up offensively, and Tyreek Hill's going to get his, you've got to figure out a way to get Travis Kelce going
And Josh Gordon.
and Josh Gordon. So you're going to have to open this thing up. I don't care if it's screens, little curl routes. Whatever. Packers secondary, it's good. It's not elite.
No.
This should be a fun game. It should be a track meet, but we'll wait and see. But very interesting game here. Big implications. Patchy said the Packers can lose this game because no one in the NFC North is challenging them. I disagree. I think you're going to see the Lions make a real run at them because they like to bite off kneecaps.
Look, they're gonna
Yeah.
get their win. We keep believing in them, Mike.
Don't get me started. You know what? Another quick tangent. I took the Lions +3 last week to beat the Eagles. That didn't work. That was my worst bet of the day, but I'm going to digress on that. All right. On to another game we are going to talk about. We're going to go to the Battle of Ohio because for once, it's an interesting game because you got Baker and the Brownies off the whole Odell stuff visiting the 5-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Ooh, baby, this should be it should be a fun one.
Oh, this should be a really fun game because you've got the Browns without Odell, so we know Baker's going to be great or better.
Better.
They have Nick Chubb back. That Bengals offense is still potent as ever. This is a track meet. This is a track meet.
This has to be a big Nick Chubb game because your game plan, if you're Stefanski, I'm going to keep Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and
on the
those
bench,
guys
on the sidelines.
They're
As much as
not going to
possible.
be. They're going to be on the sideline. So this is where this game's going to be won. Battle in the trenches. The Browns O-line, Bengals D-line, and then flip it. What does the Bengals offensive line do against Myles Garrett, Clowney, and those guys? This is going to be an interesting chess match between the Bengals and the Browns.
It's going to be a fun battle, but let me throw a question back at you. Let's say the Browns lose. It's a very big possibility. Is it sell time and call it a year?
No,
And call it a year.
no, I don't think so.
So
You can still make a wild card run easy.
Okay. And this, as I said, just a question.
I don't think you could call it. The only way I would call it a year, and it'd be very difficult, is if Baker was done. If you could tell, okay, Baker needs the shoulder surgery now, and he's not coming back. Could you make a wild card spot with Case Keenum? Sure. But I don't think they're going to be ready to throw the towel. I also don't think the fan base would let them throw the towel in on the year, just based on what they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, we're the same old Browns. I don't think the fan base will allow. I'll say this: if the Bengals win this game, and I've been wrong on Zach Taylor all year. If the Bengals win this game, we're going to give them the same due respect they deserved after they beat the Ravens, after they took the Packers to overtime. This is a very interesting game. This should be a great game, but I'm not going to be ready to throw the towel in on the Browns yet. Although, if you give me a minute, I can pull up their upcoming schedule and see what they've got.
This game will be a fun game though today. I will say that.
Oh,
I'm
it
exci-
should be.
100%.
It'll be on my
So-
TV today.
So
I'm-
Cleveland plays Cincy today. They go to New England next week. Then they play the Lions, who are probably going to beat them. Then they play Baltimore on a Sunday night. So, I mean, if they go 1-3 in that spin, then they're done, obviously. But they're going to take it a game at a time. I took Cleveland to win this game. Give me a sec.
I know I took Cincy.
I think everyone else took Cincy. I was the only one who took Cleveland because I don't know why I took Cleveland.
Because Cleveland rocks.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks so much it lost its legends. Drew Carey's now in LA. LeBron's now in LA. Odell Beckham acts like he's from LA. They don't even, So, Battle of Ohio should be a fun one to watch too. All right. The other game we're going to talk about is the Sunday night game. And this is another heavy fight. Also, Super Bowl rematch from years and years ago.
1 yard.
Derrick Henry led Titans visit the Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis. And yes, I say it every week. Chris Collinsworth will tell you he loves everyone on both teams. So let's start with Derrick Henry. He's going to be out with foot surgery. In comes the living legend, Adrian Peterson.
Who will start?
Actually, we have breaking news according to Adam Schefter.
Oh,
Okay.
Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa diagnosed with a fractured finger. Jacoby Brissett expected to start against the Texans today.
oh,
There's the reason that whole trade fell through. That whole trade
Oh.
lineup fell through.
No, the trade's another point, and I'll
We'll touch on that
alert.
another time. Sorry.
Spoiler alert. That could be something that's talked about later date, maybe in a blog. Okay. So Tua's out. Jacoby Brissett's going to play. Chris Greer and Brian Flores, you're making this difficult for me. You're making it so difficult that I'm going to do something no one knows what I'm going to do. Chris Greer and Brian Flores, for everything you've put me through for the last month plus, to quote the GOAT,
Not
Brian
Tom Brady.
Flores and Chris Greer, you just made the list.
oh, you did it.
You
They're
did
on it.
They're
You're
on
on
it.
it for life.
For life. Back to the Titans and the Rams. Derrick Henry's out. They bring in Adrian Peterson, who's expected to start tonight. What do we have any Adrian Peterson expectations?
No, he's an older running back. He's not going to do much.
I mean, how many touches can he have?
Maybe 10, 12.
I was going to say 10 to 15, maybe.
Here's the thing, like you said it on Wishbone. This is where you paid Ryan Tannehill the money.
Yep.
This is the game. These are the games where he has to win. And he's got a supporting cast. He's got AJ Brown. He's got Julio. This is the reason you went out and got him. And then you paid Ryan Tannehill. He has to come out and play well. He did last week when they played the
Colts.
Colts. He played really well. If he does that again, earn that paycheck, Ryan, because he's played really well. But let's face it, he has ridden Derrick Henry.
So here's the thing. I'm going to comment off that, and then I'll let Mark go. If I'm the Rams, which I'm not, Sean McVay's older than me, but he's still way better looking. That's a whole nother conversation too. You're going to put Jalen Ramsey, I would guess, on AJ Brown, and Jalen Ramsey's going to shadow AJ Brown all game. This is the game where I need Julio Jones. And this is why I got Julio Jones to go down by the schoolyard. This is the game where Julio Jones has to pay dividends for the Titans.
100%.
Watch it. Looking at the fact that Adrian Peterson, yet again, the resurrection, is coming back. My expectations for him was, as I said before we started, I said over under. I said 70 yards, 70 total yards. For Adrian Peterson, and that's a possibility. I think he'll break off one, maybe two, 5-10 yard runs. I think that's going to help Tannehill in this game, is because if they commit to the run early and they bring up those defenders, you can't simultaneously double cover Brown and Jones. One of them is going to be hoping to be open, and this is a very big game. And like you said, this is why Tannehill was paid the big money to come in and win these type of games.
We've opened it up with the Titans. Let's go to the Rams for a sec, because they are 7-1. We talked about them before with making the Von Miller deal. I think under the radar, we have to talk about a little bit. Stafford's had a great year. Well known. Cooper Kupp has turned himself, I don't know if you guys put him here, near the top 5 in receivers in the league right now.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's on track to break the single season receiving yards record.
Yeah, I think about it. He would break Calvin Johnson's record. Who was Calvin Johnson's quarterback? Matthew Stafford. Full circle.
Talk about a movement.
Okay, I want to look it up really quick here, Mike. I mean, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 games. He's already got 930 yards receiving in 8 games. That's insane. He's averaging over 100 yards a game.
And think about Robert Woods for a minute, because I think I can't speak for you. Robert Woods is a good receiver, good football player.
Oh yeah.
He's just ended up being hidden away kind of between Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp.
He doesn't complain.
No, that's the big great thing about it.
Doesn't complain because they all support each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is why the Rams are 7-1. This is why you have to fear the Rams. It is unbelievable what they're doing. In particular, those receivers. All right. Patchy, anything on Titans, Rams?
Just watch out for the Rams. We should hopefully easily cruise to 8-1 today with the situation in Tennessee. Too much talent right there. It should be a nice win for the Rams and continue the battle for the number 1 spot in the NFC with the other teams.
Look, with today's a win today and a Cardinals loss, and they'll be ahead of the Cardinals in the West. Cardinals no longer undefeated. Maybe playing today without both DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. We'll wait and see on that.
Yeah, both GTD.
Yeah, but I just want to flip it back to Tennessee for a minute, because Derrick Henry's underwent the foot surgery. He's out 6 to 10 weeks. We talked about for tonight, but long term, this is a brutal blow for this team.
It is. And here's the thing. Their their quest, their like drive to be the number one seed, if they can pull it off, is now even more crucial because you look at what Derrick Henry's timetable is to return, because he is going to return this year unless they miss the playoffs. But it's 6 to 10 weeks. Okay, so let's go worst case scenario. 10 weeks from last week. So 10 weeks would put us at week 18. That's wild card weekend. So
And if you're the number one seed, you have the bye.
you have the bye. So them getting the number one seed is like even more crucial now, because that would give them even more time to possibly get Derrick Henry ready to go. Now, if he gets back within 7 weeks, then they should be fine. I think they can win 3 or 4 of their next few games upcoming without Derrick Henry. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be this is where Tannehill, you got to do it, man.
Here's the other thing that they get. They've played the Colts twice. They beat them twice. So it's not like it's not like one of the other two teams are charging at you, making a big run. That's not going to happen with the Jags and the Texans. So you could be a little bit patient here with Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we'll wait and see what happens there. All right. Before we move on, anything else on Titans Rams? Okay. All right. We're gonna do the 5 next. Now, you two guys, Patchy, we're not here last week, so Mark and I did something different. Instead of the 2-minute drill, mainly because we never hit 2 minutes, we're gonna go with lists of 5. But the first 2 I'm giving you are actually a ranking. So I'm going to give you 5 teams. 5 is the team you believe in the least. 1 would be the most. So from 5 to 1, rank these 5 win teams: the Saints, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Bills.
Okay. So off of that list, starting from 5, I have to, unfortunately, I think, put the Saints at 5. I think losing Jameis Winston and having to start either Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill is a massive blow to the Saints. I don't know how they're coming back from that, unless Trevor Siemian somehow just plays really, really well, or Taysom Hill plays really, really well. I don't see how they're coming back from this. Kamara's had a down year. Michael Thomas isn't back yet. The defense has been iffy at times. I just think with Winston now, the whole thing unravels. I think they got their win against Tampa Bay, but I don't see it happening again. I like I said, I think this whole thing unravels with Jameis Winston being out. Number 4, I'll go the Raiders. And that's not to say I don't like the Raiders. I like the Raiders. I think Derek Carr has proven that he's always been, in my opinion, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. I think Derek Carr on the right team is a top 10 quarterback. I really think so. He's been really, really good for the last few years, and with all the turmoil in Oakland / Vegas. So, but I like the Raiders right now. So, but I'll put them at 4 compared to the other 3. Number 3, I gotta put the Ravens. I think, look, they've had their great moments. Lamar Jackson is obviously having another MVP like caliber season. I think there's a few more problems on the Ravens than people want to admit, if that makes any sense. I think, Mike, you mentioned this on Wishbone. I think the secondary is not as good as it should be.
Yeah, the Marcus Peters injury kills them.
The running back injuries have caught up to them. Kind of all relies on Lamar right now, and I think we're seeing that he can't do everything. Number 2, I got to go the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals beat the Ravens. You beat them, you get the spot above them. The Bengals have been, I think, I could say for most majority of fans, the Bengals have been the biggest surprise this year of how good they are. Joe Burrow is playing phenomenal. Jamar Chase, my God, they we all criticize them for taking Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, and man, are they getting the last laugh. This guy's playing rookie. I mean, so far, Jamar Chase has run away with the rookie of the year. Unless he gets hurt, he's winning rookie of the year.
Even if he gets there, he still might win it.
He still might win it. But Zach Taylor has put the pieces together, and he's now getting what he needs from this team. I mean, Trey Hendrickson has been one of the best free agent signings this year. He's great. He's got 6.5 sacks over the first 8 games. He's phenomenal. The defense has played great for Cincinnati. Yeah, they're on a roll right now. Number one, though, is the Bills. I still hold that the Bills are the best team in the NFL. Allen's, I think, argument best quarterback in the league right now. You've got Stephon Diggs. You've got Emmanuel Sanders. You've got Zach Moss finally blossoming into a decent running back. You finally got Dawson Knox going as a good tight end. That line is great. The defense has been phenomenal. They've shut down everybody they've come across. The Bills are still the best team in the NFL.
Now, me going off of the same list, Noah and I are in agreement with the 5, 4, 3 picks. Absolutely. That's the way it should go. Noah made a lot of good comments, and I'm not going to repeat them all. For me, though, I have the Bills at number 2. Now, and I only do this because the Bills lack something that they make up for in a lot of areas, and that's a running game. I'm sorry, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss have not putting up 100-yard gains in something like Buffalo needs. So I put Buffalo at number 2, and I put the Bengals at number 1. You got to give this team credit where credit is due. Jamar Chase, like Noah said, it's been lights out. He is going to win offensive rookie of the year. Joe Mixon has been doing well. You have Tyler Boyd. You have T. Higgins. The defense is playing well. I see the Bengals being the big surprise of this season.
Well, I really can't say nothing because me and Noah had the same list. So I really can't repeat what Noah said. I think the Bills are the best 5-win team out of this. The run game will eventually click, and the Bills will be off and running to another AFC East title and possibly, hopefully, a Super Bowl run once January rolls around.
Okay, so I'm in agreement where the Saints are at 5 mainly because of the Jameis injury. Raiders 4. I'm going to flip-flop the Bengals and the Ravens. And I know the Bengals smashed the Ravens in Baltimore, and I give them a ton of credit for doing it. But the Ravens do have a track record also. And I can't put it away that Lamar has been here before. He's done some things. I don't know. You question him in the playoffs, which is fine.
I'm still going to.
No, that's fine. It's fine. You can. But I just want you to know he did beat the Titans in the playoffs last year. Now, I know the Ravens defense is something to be. They're missing a corner, and Marcus Peters is so good, and they miss him so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is going to hurt them in the end. I still picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. That was my preseason pick. I'm going to stick with it. Lamar is still playing at an MVP level. And you talked about the running backs, and now they're relying on the law firm of Devontae Freeman, Le'Veon Bell, and Latavius Murray. If they can get the passing game going, and they've gotten it going a couple of times this year, all of a sudden Lamar becomes that dual threat we want him to be. The Ravens are dangerous. They are very dangerous. And the Bills are at 1. And listen, I will never say a bad word about Sean McDermott because I think he's a phenomenal head coach. And this was a process that the Bills needed, and they have it. So I'll go the Bills at 1. All right, next one. We're going to rank these 3-win teams: the 49ers, the Falcons, the Vikings, the Eagles, and the Bears, better known as the Fighting Matt Nagy's.
Okay. So if I'm going the 3-win teams, worst one, I really want to put the Vikings at 5, but I can't. But I'm gonna put the Eagles at 5. Look, I think Hurts is a starting quarterback. I think he just needs better talent around him. I think he's starting to get that with Devontae Smith. But other than that, other than those two, there's nothing. They don't use Miles Sanders enough. The coaching staff, I think, is iffy right now. The defense is getting older. They're not performing like they should be. The offensive line is trash. I think that they have some pieces that they can work around. I think Hurts deserves to be the starting quarterback and not have all this Deshaun Watson talk, Gardner Minshew getting traded. Doesn't deserve all this, but I think right now there's some turmoil, and I'm going to put the Eagles at 5. I put the Bears at 4 simply because I think over the Eagles, they at least have their future set. Justin Fields, they just need to find a new coach. Matt Nagy needs to go out the door now. I think Justin Fields is their future. I think they can finally find a trade partner for Allen Robinson.
He a free agent, so they don't have to.
That's
bring
right.
him back.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, free agent. So they're
I
finally.
don't know why they didn't trade him, but that's a whole nother conversation.
They finally get rid of the Allen Robinson drama. Got Darnell Mooney. You've got David Montgomery coming back. You've got some nice pieces in Cole Kmet, and that defense is still elite with Khalil Mack and other pieces there. So I think the Bears are – the future is looking bright, but the present is just, 3, I'm saying the Vikings. I am done with Kirk Cousins. I'm done. I don't want to hear this anymore. He is not a top 15 quarterback. He is not a winner. Every time that guy plays in primetime, I watch this dude choke. I mean, Mark, we saw this with the Cowboys last week. He played against a backup quarterback, and he got outplayed by a backup quarterback in
He
primetime.
missed so many wide open throws.
Yes. I am sick and tired of hearing about this Kirk Cousins stuff. Mike, I'll never forget you and Adam a couple weeks ago on Wishbone say a fair trade would be Jimmy Garoppolo and a first-round pick for Kirk Cousins. No way.
I'm still on that bandwagon of Kirk Cousins is better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
No way. He is not worth a first-round pick.
Hold on. Question. Hear me out on this. Would you rather have the Viking offensive line or the 49er offensive line?
Okay, fair enough. I'd rather have the 49ers.
Okay. All right. That's done.
Here's the thing, though.
Hold on. I'm not done. Would you? I know he's going to play today, and I know he's been out. Would you rather have George Kittle skittle, or would you rather have the tight ends on Minnesota of Tyler Conklin and Chris Herndon because Irv Smith's out for the year? Kittle.
Probably Kittle.
Right.
But,
would you
can't deny what Conklin has done this season?
No, I'm not denying it. I'm just saying overall, you'd rather have Kittle.
But then you look at the receivers, and it's like this guy has Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. He should be doing better.
Okay, that's fine. And Jimmy G's got Deebo Samuel because Ayuk has done something. Would you rather have the Viking defense or the Niner defense?
Niner. And look, I get this. But to say that he's worth a first-round pick along with Jimmy G is utter heresy.
That's a little tough to swallow.
That's utter heresy.
Give him a 2.
3. 3's the
I give
max.
it 4. No, 4.
No, I give it 2. I would give it 2.
Listen, in the right system, I'm going to say this right now. In the right system, under the right guy,
he might choke a little less in primetime.
Think about Matt Stafford.
All right. I'm done with your word of choke because all I remember is Tony Romo botching a snap in Seattle.
I'm not trying to defend Romo. I'm just saying.
No. But here's my point. Everything Kirk Cousins does for you people is wrong. He goes into New Orleans in the playoffs. He beat the Saints in the playoffs. And then I could go, hey, no, you like that? And then, he never wins in prime time. They never win in prime time. He's won in prime time. I'm done with the narrative of Kirk Cousins just can't win the big one. He can't win the big. At some point, you can't bank everything on the quarterback. At some point, it's on Mike Zimmer. At some point, it's on the Viking front office.
No. He's gotten that too much already.
No,
All right.
no. Bullshit.
Easy, boys.
Easy, boys. I want to throw one thing in there. Think about Matt Stafford in Detroit. All of those years of constantly being on a poor team. And he only seemed great. And think about it, he had Megatron for a few years. After Megatron left, Matt Stafford was practically kind of left with nobody. And then he gets traded to LA, and Matt Stafford is thriving. So it's time for a change of scenery in
Here's
Minnesota.
The problem is you're penalizing Kirk Cousins for the contract he signed. When in doubt, there's not a soul on this planet that wouldn't have signed the Kirk Cousins contract.
I'm not blaming him for taking the contract, and I'm not. I'm
But
saying
you are, because in your mind that contract should have never been offered, and you're faulting the player for signing the contract that was offered.
No, you have to assume what the Vikings offered is what Washington was gonna offer. So you have to play. It's a game of chess.
Well, Washington's a whole nother story because they screwed up with him because they franchised him twice and never gave him the long-term deal.
Understood. Also, they brought in Alex Smith, after whatever. Right. But it's a game of chess when it comes to contracts. And the Vikings thought that this was their checkmate and that
it hasn't worked.
What it was going to take to bring him. It has not worked. No.
Right.
And he's had elite. Look, Kirk Cousins is not a bottom tier quarterback, but he's not a top 10 quarterback either.
Oh no, I'm not saying he is a top 10.
So give him the right system.
You have to give him the respect he's somewhat earned.
He's earned some respect. I'm not going to say he hasn't, but the guy has never had to play in a really, really big game.
This is gonna drum up some hate. Kirk Cousins to me is the modern day Eli. He'll have, in this aspect, he will have some great games that make you go, wow, he's really great. But then he'll turn around and have some other games where you go, what was that?
See, you say that about Kirk Cousins. I think that's another guy on this list. Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan. And that's why I would go. I can't believe I would do this. The Eagles would be 5 for me on this list. Then I'd go Falcons because I've said this so many times on the podcast. I feel like I should be banned from the city of Atlanta. How much I hate the Matt Ryan contract and what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I put
to finish on my list. I would have said Vikings 3, Falcons 2, Niners 1.
Okay, we agree on 1. The Niners are the best 3-win team. Injuries have derailed them. But I'd go Eagles 5, Falcons 4, Bears 3, and you know how my feelings on Matt Nagy. And then I'd go Vikings 9ers, even though I think Mike Zimmer should be out at some point. I just want to make this note because we put the Eagles. Here are the Eagles' 3 wins. They beat the Falcons to open the season, lose a close one to the Niners, and they get blown out by the Cowboys, lose by a couple of scores to the Chiefs. Then they beat the Panthers, who've totally collapsed, and they beat the Lions last week. So it's not like the Eagles have beaten anyone impressive.
Correct. I'll make my stance on the 3-win teams very quick. Mike's and I's line is exactly aligned. I have the Eagles at the bottom and the Niners at the top. It's my opinion and my direct opinion on it's time for Matty Ice to hang it up and walk away. He's done.
The only way he's not done, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, is if you're going to trade him to some contender who's willing to take his contract.
He's too old. His time is over.
I feel the same way about Ben, but,
Ben is past done. He's burnt.
To a crisp.
To a crisp.
All right, Patchy.
I'm in agreement with you, Rifkin, on your list.
All right. I don't apologize for the language I used on Kirk Cousins. I don't. All
You know what? I allow it. I'm the president here.
All right, sweet.
All
right. So the last one, I worded this differently than I probably should have. I've said top 5 quarterbacks you'd start a franchise with. Now, I'm going to alter it a little bit. I don't know if you guys rather do the top 5 you'd start a franchise with, or would you do the top 5 quarterbacks so far of this season? I'll let you guys determine how.
I like to start a franchise one because I think that changes it a little bit.
Then let's roll with start a franchise.
All right. So to start a franchise, number 5, I'm gonna go. I gotta think here for a second because obviously you want to go young. Number 5, I would go Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields has a immense ton of potential going forward. I think his deep throws are beautiful. He's obviously shown that he's got the running ability to make this work. I love Justin Fields. I think he's going to be a star in this league, and I would definitely start a franchise around him if I could get the opportunity. Number 4, I would go with Trevor Lawrence. Again, kind of another thing like Justin Fields. He's going to be a big star in this league. He's going to bring Jacksonville back to the promised land. He will get it done given the right circumstances with the right coach. Just kick Mr. Urban Meyer to the curb and let him go to the dive bar again and hang out with the women. But yeah, he'll be fine. He's definitely going to get back in this league, and I think he's going to flourish. So I would definitely want to start with him. Number 3, I'm going to go with Justin Herbert. We've seen what he's done. He does get rattled a couple times, but I think he really pulls himself together, and he is able to his throwing ability is amazing. His throwing ability is one of the best in the league, and he'll get it together, despite this skid that they've had so far in Los Angeles. So number 3 would be Herbert. Number 2, I'm going Dak, because he's got the ability on the field, but the biggest thing for me with Dak is his off the field, his intangibles, his leadership. You need that in a quarterback. Mark, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a video after Cooper Rush's game against the Vikings, and Dak chased him in the locker room.
Yeah,
and Dak was ecstatic for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was so happy for Cooper Rush to have that game. He was hugging him, being like, 342, what are you doing? Hugging him and cheering him on. That is something you cannot teach in this league, is being a great teammate, being a leader, being someone that the team can rely on and pull you through these games. Dak has so many of those. And you could say this cowboy bias, whatever. I don't care. There are so many intangibles off the field that Dak has that you can't teach, and that's why he's making $40 million. And his play is great too. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. So there's that. So Prescott number 2. Number 1 for me, this will be controversial. He has to figure out his legal stuff, but number 1 is Deshaun Watson. I absolutely love Deshaun Watson's game. I love what he brings. This is a guy who made Houston relevant, and we've seen how bad Houston is now without him. And again, I know it's controversial. I know the legal stuff. I know he has to figure all that out. But when the guy plays, he's just as good as Mahomes. And I know Mahomes not being on my list is probably heresy, but I think Mahomes has had a really big coming to earth moment, and he kind of has fallen out of my good graces for the moment. But Watson I've watched this guy since college, and he's been phenomenal at every single level. And so number 1 for me would be Watson.
And that's a great, 5 quarterbacks that you would want to start with. For me at 5, Fields, I'm in a complete agreement. This kid will be something special. He just needs a couple of years. He will be good. 4, I love Mac Jones. I don't think he's the next Tom Brady. I think he's just full of potential. And I think, we're only getting to see part of the pie here for him. 3, Trevor. I've been a fan of him going back to college. I watched him play. I know what he's going to be able to do. 2, Noah and I, it would be very hard for us both not to say Dak at 2. And Noah said everything, so I don't have to comment much more, except Dak is awesome. And then my number 1, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is got the combination of skills of every best quarterback that you can see has been put together. And he's going to win multiple championships before he's done. Patchy, to you.
All right. Starting number 5, you got to throw Baker Mayfield in there. Because you know what? Baker is finally rid of the poison on his team. And it'll be his time to shine once again. Number 4, Justin Herbert. Can't forget about Herbert. Having a little fun in the sun in LA. Having fun in the sun.
Growing that hair back out too.
Growing the hair back out. Number 3, I'm going to throw Dak. I love Prescott. Prescott is. Oh, what? You're baffled that I put Dak Prescott on this list?
Surprised. I am surprised. Yes, Pat.
You are surprised I put Dak Prescott? Oh, come on. Dak Prescott's great. You know what? If it wasn't for last season's injury, the Cowboys would have ran away with this division.
Yeah.
Or
Number 2,
galloped away. Come on.
you got to gallop all the way. Number 2, I'm going to keep Mahomes there. It's down to earth season for Mahomes. He's going to have maybe a subpar season. I said at the beginning of the season that, hey, it could be a humbling season for him. Bounce back next year. Hey, KC is fine with their quarterback. Number 1, Josh Allen. Josh Allen has brought life back to Buffalo. Buffalo is relevant again in the football world and not being what was the 90s of 4 losses in a row. Granted, they're still remembered for that, but soon enough, those 4 Super Bowl losses in the 90s are going to be in the past when the Bills finally win a Super Bowl.
And I hope so for them in that case.
And before Mike goes really quick, I just want to say something really quick. I've mentioned this to our friend Adam before, and it's amazing how much wealth of talent there is at the quarterback position, I think, for not only just now, but for the future, where Mark, you had a couple different people from me. Patchy, you had a couple different people from me. But yet, I don't think anyone would argue with any 3 of our lists. I don't.
Mike's silent there. He was looking to argue. No.
But like that's amazing how like there's that much wealth at the quarterback position. Is that we can have 3 separate lists with varying people on it, and I don't think anyone would question any of them.
And I think that's why when you look at certain people we've had the conversations on, whether it's today or on the podcast, it's we talked about Kirk Cousins. Well, if you stunk, you could have had one of these guys. Matt Ryan, if you retired and stunk for a year, you could have had one of these guys. And we have that conversation. Like we talked about this prior to the draft. Atlanta should be taking the quarterback of the future, not Kyle Pitts. They should have taken Justin Fields, and you're seeing what Justin Fields can do. That could have been the next 10 to 15 years in Atlanta. Instead, we don't know who Atlanta's quarterback is for after Matt Ryan. Okay, so I'm gonna predicate something here. You 3 had Dak on your list. I didn't put Dak down. I would have if I had made this longer. 5 for me, Joe Burrow. I questioned Joe Burrow and how he was going to look off the ACL. And he's got to be, you talked about Jonathan Taylor in the MVP race. Joe Burrow's in this race.
Absolutely.
He's the most valuable Burrow I know. 4, Justin Herbert, mainly because of the long hair but the onions of Brandon Staley to trust him to go for it on all the fourth downs is something to behold.
Something I hold my breath every time Dallas does lately.
No. 3, no, you brought up the legal stuff, and I'm right there with you. Deshaun Watson. You can't, what he did was wrong, and the legal stuff will play out, but the dude can play football. The dude can play football.
I still, I don't mean to cut you off, Mike, but I just want to say, I still hold to this day, if Deshaun Watson had gone to a better organization than the Houston Texans, he would be better than Mahomes right now.
I still argue that there should have been a trade for him this week, and why there wasn't is total crap. 2 is still Josh Allen, because I still need to see him do it on the grandest stage. And that's not to knock him in any way, shape, or form. Loved him coming out of Wyoming, big arm. He's worked on the accuracy stuff. Number one.
I'm sorry, I get my just for a little backstory for Patchy and Mark. When Buffalo took Josh Allen in that draft, me and Mike were the ones who were having to tell our Buffalo friends that they had a good quarterback.
Please.
Oh, I had plenty of people that I was calming down. I know what you mean.
The Bills are out to get me because there was one year in the draft I said the Dolphins should draft Trey White. Oh, the Bills drafted Trey White. And I'm just like, and then I would text our buddy Adam days 2 and 3 of the draft. This is who I want. And they wind up on the Bills. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. Number 1, and I really wanted to put Lamar here. I didn't put Lamar on the list, which bothers me. I can't not put Mahomes on the list. He is the best he's the best quarterback on broken plays I think I've ever seen. Nobody has this arm talent, but I watch a lot of NFL Live, and shout out Dan Orlovsky who pointed this out this week. His footwork has been dreadful. If he works on that, he's going to be back to being the Mahomes of old, but that's a wait and see. Those are our top 5 quarterbacks we would start a franchise with. Now, I don't know how this works being live on YouTube, so I'm going to sound really dumb right now. But if you have an idea for a list of 5, I don't know if they comment underneath, Patchy. If
they can. If people are listening, they can comment, and if not, don't be afraid to message us on Facebook or Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or the website. Subscribe to the website.
Subscribe to the website. 21 followers at the moment.
www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com.
Why do people steal my thunder? That's supposed to be my plug. I'm the one
I'm Jushin Thunder Liger. Okay, so
about to be like Triple H and give you a shovel.
Here's the deal. Listen to all the podcasts. Sports Insanity Podcast, Face Turn Podcast, Wishbone Shotgun Podcast, Breakaway Bandits Podcast. I think all, and the Throwdown, all just drop new episodes. Listen, Anchor, wherever you get your podcast. Go to the website. Patchy, if you don't want your thunder stolen, you can say the website now.
I can say the website finally. All right, go to www. You cut me off. I'm gonna come over there and super kick you in the back.
Sorry, I couldn't resist, Patchy.
You're all really funny. That's it. The show. You're all so funny. I'm canceling the show.
Oh. All right. Patchy, you want to go ahead so I can close out?
Yes. All right. Also, don't forget to follow the network on social media. SIN Real. SIN Insanity Real on Twitter, and also SIN Insanity on Facebook, and go to the website www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com.
All right. For Mark Oldops, Guy Halper, Noah Tremblay, Lawrence Patchman, like I'm Mike Griffin. You've been listening to SIN Sunday Sideline Report. Enjoy the football. Come back next week.